Supreme Court Justice nominee Brett Kavanaugh headed to Capitol Hill today alongside Vice President Mike Pence to meet with senators in hopes of locking down their votes, despite the backlash surging from the left. Last night, the candidate spoke about what he hopes to accomplish from these key meetings.
I will tell each senator that I revere the Constitution. I believe that an independent judiciary is the crown jewel of our constitutional republic. If confirmed by the Senate, I will keep an open mind in every case, and I will always strive to preserve the Constitution of the United States and the American rule of law.
Joining me right now is White House Director of Legislative Affairs, Marc Short. Marc, good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us.
Maria, thanks for having me on this morning.
Look, the Republicans hold this razor-thin majority in the Senate. Is he going to be able to get his nominee confirmed?
Well, Maria, I think that we're very excited about the nomination. He's a terrific pick. We are expecting and hoping for a fair process, and we think that we'll have enough support when the process completes to get Kavanaugh confirmed on the Supreme Court.
Well, it was really Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski that were pretty adamant about having the right candidate there with regard to women's issues and Roe v. Wade. Do you think you'll be able to get those votes?
You know, Senator Collins and Senator Murkowski both came over and met with the president last week, told us what they would like to see in a nomination. I think the president took their advice to heart. I think that the nominee he's put forward is somebody that they will embrace, just as they supported Judge Neil Gorsuch for the Supreme Court. So, yes, we look forward to earning their trust and their support through this process.
And in terms of Democrats, are you counting on some of the Democrats where the president won in those states, like a Joe Manchin, like a Heidi Heitkamp?
Absolutely, Maria. I think that likewise the president consulted several Democrats in this process, and several of them gave us their vote on Judge Neil Gorsuch. I think, unfortunately, the process has become more partisan. What is certainly disappointing is how many Democrats came out before the president even announced a candidate and said, regardless of who he puts forward, we'll be opposed. That's certainly, I think, rather undemocratic and not the way that that the advice and consent clause of the Constitution is supposed to work. But we think that there's enough Democrats that will give him a fair hearing and will cross over and support his nomination.
Yeah, one of them was Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. He's opposing Judge Kavanaugh's nomination. He called on the Senate to reject the nomination. The White House says it expects Judge Kavanaugh to be confirmed by October 1st when the Supreme Court term begins. But, Marc, does the president need to meet with Chuck Schumer? How are you going to turn Chuck Schumer from putting the pressure on his colleagues?
Well, let's keep in mind that for the last two Supreme Court nominees, both Sotomayor and for Judge Gorsuch, it was 66 days from the day that they were announced to the day they were confirmed. That would be before October 1st in the case of Judge Kavanaugh. So holding to tradition the last couple nominations, we would expect that he would be seated before the October 1st deadline. Let's also keep in mind that the Senate has announced that they'll be here throughout August. And so that affords us more opportunities for one-on-one meetings. Judge Kavanaugh will make himself available to each and every senator who wants to sit down and have a conversation about the way he views the Constitution and intends to the temperament he intends to bring to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let me switch gears, ask you about another battle. That's a federal judge has agreed to extend the deadline for government to reunite migrant families to Friday. The original deadline was today, we know, but the government says that about half of the children will require more time because their parents could not be located, Marc. What's your reaction?
Well, in many cases, Maria, what parents have chosen to do is they self-deport, knowing that their children are here, because in many cases they believe their children are going to have a better life in America. And while there's enormous turmoil, we can't have a system that basically incents parents to bring their children across the border and then leave. And that, in many cases, is what's been happening. So in some cases, the reunification of parents and children is a result of the parents having already chosen to self-deport back out of the country. We also have challenges that we have a responsibility to protect the children. There was a report done during the Obama years that talked about, in many cases, the children coming across not being with their parents, and in some cases, these children being sexually abused, physically abused, human trafficked, because they're not actually with their physical parent. They're with a human trafficking adult who brings them across the border. So we have a responsibility to protect those children and make sure that the parent, the adult they're being given back to, is in fact their parent.
Yes.
And those are responsibilities.
You're right. You do have that responsibility. So what happened initially? I mean, I understand that this program has been going on for before President Trump got into office in terms of separating families from children, but shouldn't your agencies have been been ready. I mean, shouldn't you have been better prepared for the president's zero-tolerance policy when, in fact, these people came to the border?
I'm sure that there's a lot of review, Maria. They'll talk about how the process likely could have been better. But I think it's also incumbent upon us to remember we have been asking Congress to give us the tools to change the practices. When you have 20 days in which you're forced to let the children go, then your choices are let the children and parents go free into the United States with an expectation that one day they'll show up for a court adjudication, or you separate the parents and the children. We have very limited options because Congress has not given us the tools to actually detain and hold the families together while they go through the adjudication process.
Meanwhile, a U.S. district judge in Los Angeles rejecting the administration's request to detain asylum-seeking families together during lengthy immigration proceedings. The judge called it, quote, a cynical attempt to alter a longstanding court order. How much further does this complicate things? Is there going to be another effort on immigration reform?
The reality is that the courts continue to rule in differing ways on this, and we need the Congress to step in and to provide clarity by passing a law. That's what's needed because the judges are trying to interpret very confusing laws right now. We need Congress to clarify this for this administration, for future administrations.
Okay, so do you expect Congress to act on this anytime soon?
We're asking Congress to act on it. And in fact, this so-called Flores decision that requires the release of children after 20 days is something that we've asked for Congress to fix going back to the very beginning of the administration in each of the immigration efforts. What we're asking for now is because so much of this is obviously very divisive, is just give us a narrow fix on this piece so that we can make sure that there's clarity in the law and that when you bring parents and children across, we're able to keep them in detention together. Otherwise, all you're going to do is create more incentive for human traffickers to push their children across. What's lost in a lot of this coverage, Maria, is there's focus on the 2,000 families since zero tolerance. More than 10,000 children came across unaccompanied in that same period, meaning parents and traffickers were pushing the children across because they know the laws of the United States require you to let the children go into the United States. It's their way to essentially provide for their children their hopes of a better future, but It's incredibly dangerous because they get sexually abused and physically abused by human traffickers along that pathway. We have created unintended consequences with laws that were intended to protect them that actually created more problems.
Marc, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Maria.
Marc joining us at the White House.